The movie begins in the 31st century, with members of the Fatal Five attacking the Legion of Superheroes. Saturn Girl deduces that they are after the Time Sphere, so Brainiac 5 sets a trap for when the enemies get past their defenses. Meanwhile, Starboy and Saturn Girl buy time for Brainiac 5 to complete his plan when the enemies eventually breach their final defense. Saturn Girl and Starboy are quickly knocked out while Brainiac 5 is thrown against the wall. The enemy has set a course for 2021, but Starboy manages to hitch a ride with them to the 21st century. As the Time Sphere enters orbit and makes its way to the Earth's atmosphere, the trap on the Time Sphere activates and puts the enemies in a stasis field while losing all power. As the flying hunk of metal crash lands on Earth, Superman swoops in and saves a boy about to be crushed by the Time Sphere. On the other side of town, Starboy crash lands in Gotham City but realizes that he broke the last dose of his drug during the rough landing. He walks into a pharmacy looking for the drug only to realize that he is in the past and the said drug does not exist yet. Trying to calm the pharmacist, he turns off his costume and becomes naked before her. As she cries for help, a couple of officers try to apprehend Starboy when he uses his powers to escape. While fleeing the cops, he runs into Batman and is easily captured. Meanwhile, 3 campers make their way into the woods when they run into a man burying a dead body. Caught by the mysterious man, Jessica Cruz witnesses her friends shot in front of her. Fearing she is next, she risks running into the woods to escape him when she is later driven off the cliff's edge. She later falls into a ravine when the man tries to take a shot at her. She later wakes up from the vivid dream and goes to see a psychiatrist, trying to overcome the trauma she endured for months. It turns out that Jessica was chosen by a Green Lantern ring which saved her from the fall. Out of nowhere, Wonder Woman appears before her, wondering why she has not been answering their call. Jessica explains that the ring could have made a mistake when it chose her, but Wonder Woman starts attacking her. Amid their battle, Jessica activates her ring, to which Wonder Woman points out that it wasn't a mistake if she could use its powers. At a local TV station, Bloodsport, a criminal takes the TV staff hostage and calls out to the president. After making his threats live on TV, the Weather Girl brings him over bottled water when the criminal spots someone moving in the background. He starts shooting at it, almost hitting the hostages when the Weather Girl disarms and tosses him to the ground. She later reveals herself as Miss Martian, but the criminal takes out his detonator. Batman appears out of nowhere, jumps at the criminal, and knocks him out. Batman reprimands Miss Martian's recklessness that almost compromises the hostage's safety. Superman later returns to the Watchtower with the strange-looking sphere. He asks help from Mr. Terrific to unlock it, but has yet to be successful. Mr. Terrific admits this is a challenge when Superman speculates that the sphere may be out of phase and out of sync with its current time. Mr. Terrific tried to bombard it with supercharged electricity, which successfully brought down the stasis field. They later realize it's a ship carrying 3 of the most notorious Fatal Five. The enemy tried to escape capture and leave the building when Superman suddenly confronted them. Superman is outnumbered and caught when Mr. Terrific joins the battle and helps him. The Persuader attacks Superman with an atomic axe, which is said to cut through anything. Mono and Tharok of the Fatal Five try to attack them too, but Mr. Terrific creates a shield around Superman and him. The enemy decides to retreat. Mr. Terrific later realizes Superman is bleeding and falls unconscious in a pool of his own blood. Batman turns in the criminal at Arkham Asylum from the TV station when Starboy is reminded of his mission when he sees Superman fighting the Fatal Five. He later breaks out from the asylum using his powers while the other prisoners break free from their cells. Batman confronts Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn, who knocks out a few guards while Miss Martian saves Batman from Bloodsport, who has him at gunpoint. Batman catches up to Starboy, who stops him from chasing and flies off into the distance. Meanwhile, Mono of the Fatal Five is confronted by the Emerald Empress, who explains that they are experiencing some minor complications. He assures her that he will find the key and free her and Validus. also members of the Fatal Five. Meanwhile, Superman is being treated for his wounds at the Watchtower while Batman returns with news. He explains that he captured Starboy 10 months ago and insists he is from the future. He was being held in Arkham Asylum until he saw Superman and the Fatal Five on the news. He also added that he is strong enough to level Arkham Asylum and explained that these Fatal Five are after something called the Limelight. Wonder Woman speculates that they were referring to the Green Lantern when Batman added that Starboy uttered about 21 bridges. With that description, he could narrow down Starboy's and the enemy's target, an up-and-coming Green Lantern initiate, Jessica Cruz, from Portland, Oregon. Mono, Tharok, and the Persuader reach Portland and creates a ruckus to draw out Jessica. When she hears the news of the sudden appearance of the Fatal Five, she rushes to the scene to help out. She uses her Green Lantern powers and is later overwhelmed by the Persuader. Starboy also arrives at the scene and helps her break free from the Persuader, and she runs away to an abandoned building with Starboy. The Fatal Five also catches up to them when the Justice League arrives. Wonder Woman fights off with the Persuader while Mr. Terrific goes toe-to-toe with Tharok and his super-advanced weaponry. Miss Martian and the rest handle Mono. Amid the battle, Jessica gets knocked out and is then grabbed by the Persuader. Wonder Woman and Mr. Terrific run after him while Mono orders Tharok to support the Persuader. Jessica gets thrown off and falls from the sky when Superman catches her and returns with the others. Mono brings down the building on top of the heroes while he orders a quick retreat with the sudden appearance of Superman. The heroes survive the attack, while Starboy shows off his powers by lifting the debris around him, while the Justice League handles the aftermath of the destruction left behind by the Fatal Five. Miss Martian tries to interrogate Starboy, who only responds to Jessica. It turns out that he can barely remember anything as the drugs he was taking was losing their effect, and he could hardly think straight. He explains that she is in the limelight and that the Fatal Five is after her, so she invites him back to the Watchtower to figure out what to do about the enemies after her. Batman urges Miss Martian to take him and Jessica into Starboy's mind in hopes of finding the answers they seek. While in Starboy's mind, they come across the Legion's history and heritage, which stems from the Justice League of the 21st century. They later witness a battle between the Legion and the Fatal Five. The Legion struggled to win against the enemy, but the appearance of the Emerald Empress switched the favor towards the Fatal Five. When the Legion is taken out, Starboy, Saturn Girl, and Brainiac 5 join the battlefield and take out the Emerald Empress and others from the Fatal Five. With the Empress and Validus taken out, Mano, Tharok, and the Persuader escape, hoping to one day free their comrades. As Starboy tries to secure the hold on the Emerald Empress, Saturn Girl reminds her of his medicine and points out that missing a dose could make the drug ineffective, and he won't think straight again. This would mean the end of his being in the Legion. Meanwhile, Mr. Terrific calls out to Batman, who informs him that Mono has reached out to the Justice League to propose a trade. Mono threatens to destroy Metropolis and the other human cities should they refuse to surrender Jessica to them. Mr. Terrific managed to trace back the energy frequency from Tharok to multiple signals around Metropolis, which suspects these are the bombs. With that, a series of bombs explode in the city, so Superman flies off to hold a falling building in place. The Justice League moves out to save people from a string of explosions going off in the city. Back at the Watchtower, Starboy tries to comfort Jessica, who feels helpless with her situation, when suddenly Tharok reaches out to Jessica through her ring. She is drawn out into the woods, but when she refuses to surrender, Tharok points in the direction of the city, where an explosion goes off. Jessica is forced to agree to their terms, and she takes them to planet Oa. It turns out that when the Legion captured the Emerald Empress and Validus, they did not have a prison strong enough to hold them, so they decided to imprison them in Oa in the past. Only the power of the fabled Green Lantern Corps is strong enough to hold two of the mightiest villains in the galaxy. Jessica sounds confident that the Green Lantern Corps will stop them when Mono explains that most of the Green Lanterns are preoccupied with fighting a war on planet Rand, leaving their city unguarded with minimal security. Jessica explains that they would not be able to penetrate through the barrier when she realizes that she is the key intended to get them through it. After a clear reminder of Tharok's threats, Jessica pretends to escort some prisoners to the science cells, granting them entry through the Great Barrier. Inside, they manage to locate the Empress's and Validus's cells and free them, but not before two of the mightiest Green Lanterns, Kilowog and Salak, fend them off. When Jessica gets caught by Mono, she is forced to free the Empress, who easily defeats the Green Lanterns with the Emerald Eye of Ekron. After seeing a hurt Kilowog and an unconscious Salak, Jessica fights the Fatal Five in a fit of rage when the Persuader manages to break her ring and she loses her powers. The Fatal Five make their way to the central power battery and use the Eye of Ekron to absorb all of its power, which is said to grant powers to all Green Lantern rings. With all the bombs taken out, the Justice League returned to the Watchtower when they realized Jessica was missing. While trying to figure out the Fatal Five's whereabouts, Batman presumes they will look for the Time Sphere to return to their era. Mr. Terrific informs them that he hid it in plain sight and government soldiers protect it. The Fatal Five managed to track its whereabouts and get the jump on the Justice League. Given ample time to contemplate while in captivity, the Empress has the brilliant idea of destroying the sun. With the destruction of the sun, the entire solar system will cease to exist, including the League, the Martians, the Legion, and even the United Planets. She explains that in doing so, they could return to their time with virtually no one to oppose them. The Empress proposes to use the Eye of Ekron to destroy the sun, while it is supercharged by the Green Lantern's power. The Justice League arrives when the Persuader destroys their plane with his atomic axe. Superman faces off with Validus while Wonder Woman confronts the Persuader. Miss Martian helps Batman and Mr. Terrific into the underground base when she gets knocked out by Tharok. Mr. Terrific buys Batman time while he deals with Tharok by himself. Batman bumps into Mono and challenges him to a one-on-one. Meanwhile, back at Oe, Jessica awakens to the aftermath of their battle. With her foot stuck under a piece of rubble, she declares the Green Lantern Oath, and with it, she reforges the broken pieces of her ring. With her powers returned, she managed to take Kilowog and Salak to safety before passing out. Back on the battlefield, Wonder Woman overwhelmed the Persuader while Superman overpowered Validus. Batman beats Mano in hand-to-hand combat while Mr. Terrific takes out Tharok. Jessica later wakes up in her bed brimming with the power, which marks the birth of the strongest Green Lantern ever. As the League faces the Empress, they are helpless against her, who attacks them with a continuous charge of electricity akin to kryptonite, hence why even Superman is powerless. With the heroes taken out, the Empress sends her Eye of Ekron towards the sun, while the Fatal Five escapes on the Time Sphere. With seconds left to activate the time machine, Jessica arrives and disables the Time Sphere with her powers. She throws them across the room until the Time Sphere breaks. Despite being alone, Jessica beats and overpowers the Fatal Five by herself. Jessica uses her powers to bring down the entire building on the Fatal Five while she protects the League. In a race against time, Superman flies into the air trying to catch up to the Eye at top speeds. Meanwhile, Jessica tries to assist Superman, but Starboy insists she brings him. Superman got blown away by the Eye, and Starboy has come to terms with his fate with the sun on the verge of breaking apart. He explains to Jessica that this is his purpose in life and throws himself into the burning sun, acting as a magnet to pull in the excess energy and stave off its destruction. Jessica and the Justice League commemorate Starboy for his sacrifice when members of the Legion come to pay their respects to their fallen comrade. Meanwhile, Batman informs Miss Martian that she is officially a member of the Justice League after a unanimous vote. Brainiac 5 and Saturn Girl approach Jessica, who thanks them for gracing this honor. They also pay their respect to Jessica, the legendary Green Lantern. The end. Thank you for watching. Check out these other videos and make sure to subscribe and tap the bell to be notified about our latest videos. See you next time.